Welcome to the You Love to See It podcast, coverage of your Seattle Mariners. Hello, and welcome once again to the You Love to See It podcast, coverage of your Seattle Mariners. I'm your host, Jake. You can find me on Twitter at Mariners Jerseys. You can find all episodes of this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Recently found us on Samsung Audio, but who gives a shit about that? If you're watching on YouTube, a like and subscribe would be appreciated. If you're listening on streaming platforms, please leave a 5-star review and follow the show. It helps a lot. It's the day after Christmas. I hope everyone is having a happy holidays or had a happy holidays. You'll see this 2 days after Christmas, so time travel and whatnot. But my belated Christmas gift to you all is today's episode, where we have a duo of guests I'm super excited about. They're currently sitting at 9.6k subscribers on YouTube. Get them to 10k. Do it now if you can. I don't know if I have enough subs to be saying that to get you there, but whatever. They're known for their in-depth videos and the Hit It Here podcast. Pleased to have a couple guys I look up to a lot in the Mariners content space on the show. So other than Joe and Colton from Mariner Mojo.
Jake, you're gonna make me blush, man.
Sorry.
We're the Christmas gift?
You're the Christmas gift, yes.
Oh my goodness, that's so kind of you. We're very happy to be here. If you guys, if you're seeing this, you're subscribed to Jake. Go subscribe to Jake. Obviously, one of the up-and-coming guys on YouTube. Do it now.
Hopefully.
All right, look at him. Look at his beard.
I know.
Look at his beard.
I know.
Subscribe for that alone.
Exactly. I spent a lot of time on this. Okay, I've spent literally 7 years of my life making sure it gets to this point. So yeah, it has to. You got to do it for that. Well, how was your guys' Christmas?
Take it away.
My turn. All right. My Christmas was phenomenal. I got a little buzzed, and we were eating, and we were drinking, we were having a great time. All right. Mm-hmm. It was a good family event, and I didn't say anything that I shouldn't have, so that's a W in my book. What? Why are you being weird about it?
Is that something you were worried about?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Are you not worried about the liquid courage that might cause some bad conversations to come out?
No.
Oh, depends on what the liquid courage is.
That's true. If you're putting away a little tequila or something, maybe, but
no.
That's a problem.
No, there were some mixed cocktails that the hosts made, and they were very, very delicious, and I had a great time. It was a good Christmas.
Yeah, Jake, how are those Simply Spiked peaches?
Okay, I only get those at the games, but that's what I get because honestly, beer sucks. I don't know how people drink it. I'm gonna be honest. I cannot do it. My thing is, when I go and I'm drinking, I want to have a good time. I'm there at the ballpark to have a good time, and my taste buds have to have a good time too. So why would I drink literally wheat pounded into beer? Absolutely not. This isn't Minecraft. That's dumb. So I'm gonna get peach, simply peach. I don't care. I will say my favorite cocktails I've ever had is a Manhattan, and that sounds so girly and fruity. I don't care though, because it is so good. Pomegranate is awesome, especially with some lime. I don't care. My taste buds need to be drunk with me. That's all it is.
I'm in that same boat. I discovered Simply Spiked Peach last year, 2023, and they're going to be my go-to every single time, without a doubt.
And what stand are you going to at the game, Joe?
The one rooftop refreshments in 3 something,
30. Yeah, they're not 336 or something like that. I'm just saying, nothing beats. I know neither of you like beer, but there is nothing better than a beer at a baseball game.
But it's just what about a refreshing beverage? Why does it have to be beer?
It just feels right. You know what I mean? It just feels right. Don't get me wrong.
Rooted in tradition.
I am yes, I am very
1776.
That's why I'm the one with gray hair. Anyways, we're here to talk about baseball. Joseph, will you please lock in? Thank you.
My apologies.
Well, before we get into the baseball, I will say, first question, what's the favorite gift, or what's your favorite gift that you received this year, and then your favorite gift ever on Christmas? What's your all-time right there?
Ooh. Okay, So my favorite gift this year, for those of you that don't know, a lot of people were canceling their Flex memberships because they raised the prices on them. And I did that as well. This year, my mom was asking me on Thanksgiving why I canceled mine, right? And then I told her, all the reasons behind it, hey, they raised the prices, blah, 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 this reason, that reason. It's not worth it. And then her and my dad went out and splurged and rebought me the Flex membership. Okay, guys, thank you. I don't get me wrong, I am absolutely jazzed about it. Yeah. I'm so excited because I was I'm not gonna be able to go to many games this year. But yeah, then they did that. But I was just like, why would you? I just told you, like, I spent all this time bashing on the Flex membership, and then she bought it in. I'm like, gosh darn it, mom.
He's not listening, bro.
Favorite Christmas gift of all time, again from my parents, was a few years ago. So I have a bat case, which I don't have out here, but my grandparents gave me an Edgar Martinez autographed baseball bat that they got from some signing. And it's a 3 bat case. So I have Edgar. Then my mom's coworker sold her a Ken Griffey Jr. autographed bat for relatively cheap compared to how much it should be, because they were friends. And so then I have the 2 Mariners Hall of Famers. Next one will be Ichiro. I just need an Ichiro bat to go right in the middle. That'll be perfect.
What about you,
No
Joe?
choice. It's not going to be as baseball heavy. So I received a I Hate Mondays Garfield t-shirt in my stocking from my girlfriend, and I love Garfield a lot. I think it's something that doesn't really come out in my day-to-day. I don't get to share my love for the orange cat very often, but it is something that has resurfaced. I can't remember why. Maybe it was like the new movie announcement, whatever. But that happened, and I received a I Hate Mondays Garfield shirt, and I absolutely adore it. And it's now one that I frequent when I'm probably not going out. Maybe I'm just around the house, but that's probably up there this year so far. My parents haven't visited yet. That's in the beginning of January, so all the presents really haven't been fully unveiled. So maybe that answer will change, but I'm not sure. All time, this one. Okay. So it was, I think, 6th grade going into 7th grade, and it was basketball shoes for basketball tryouts that winter. And I really loved growing up. Kevin Garnett was my favorite basketball player. And when the Sonics left, I diverted my love to the Boston Celtics because Ray Allen was also a Boston Celtic. I'm wearing a Boston Celtics Santa hat. I'll pull back the veil. It's just backwards, but I didn't want to have it up front. And Kevin Garnett and Minnesota Timberwolves for a long time. Went to the Celtics as well. They formed the first super team, the Boston 3 Party. And I got custom, like Nike Hyper Dunks, but it was like what year, 7th or 8th grade. It was like 2010-ish, okay? And it said KG on one of the tongues and 5 on the other, and they were like black and green with like a white like highlight, so they're Celtics colors, and they were sick. So that's probably my favorite Christmas present.
Did you make the team?
As a chubby guy, they didn't like the fact that I couldn't run very fast. However, I will defend myself in the court of law here that I should have been on JV and varsity both years, 7th and 8th grade, but I wasn't. There was the C team, and let me tell you, Colton and I, we ran house.
We did.
On those teams because we were tall, we were big boys, and even though I couldn't run, I could shoot the lights out of a gym when I was younger, and they could have used that stretch 4. I was the hybrid basketball player that exists in today's NBA, the stretch 4, maybe the big man that can do a lot. That was kind of my shtick when I was bigger than everybody and could still shoot, and I think they could have used me back in middle school, but
so you were like the Nikola Jokic of your time. That's what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm gonna throw out that conversation, but
nice.
How about you, Jake? We're not skipping you.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I would say ever probably would have to say like an Xbox 360, just because that was like my first like gaming. Like, well, I had a gaming console before then. I had the GameCube, right? But like, I mean, the Xbox 360 just had way more possibilities. So I guess I'll have to put that. And then as far as this year, I actually have it here. My dad, who has collected cards for his whole life pretty much, he decided to go through his whole card collection and find every like Mariners card he had and gave them to me. And yeah, there's a couple of them that are pretty cool here. This is not a Mariners card, but he gave me this one. It's like an Ohtani Babe Ruth card. The moment of the week, which is cool. And then yeah, there's some good ones here. Specifically, like I really like this like rookie Julio Rodriguez card. It's kind of hard to see.
Oh yeah.
The draft one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Leaf one. So I'm excited for that. And then there's like Randy Johnson and Ken Griffey and all those good guys. So I'm excited to have that. And it's kind of sparked a bit of an obsession now where I'm like oh my gosh, where do I find boxes? Like,
It's dangerous though, dude.
I
It's
know.
dangerous.
I know. I was looking at eBay and I was just like, oh gosh, here we go.
During
Yeah.
the pandemic, I got really into baseball cards. That was like my thing because I was bored, nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And I just got really into them for some ungodly reason. And I can't even begin to tell you how much money I spent on cards. But like, you can find boxes and stuff at like Fred Meyer
Yeah.
or like Target. But like the high end boxes, either a card shop, Tops.com, MLB.com, like the one that did you look at the cards when I sent you the name of that box
I haven't
earlier?
looked at them yet. No.
Dude, they're so cool. Inception.
That's your baby right
That's
there.
my baby, dude.
Nice.
I was collecting a rainbow of Shed Long from Inception, which means it's like every color of card.
Uh-huh.
And like some of them, there's only 5 of them in the world. I'm only missing 2. I'm missing like
You're missing the one of one, the
I'm
Papa
missing the
Baba
one of
Baba.
one.
Yeah,
No, it
whatever
was
it's
not the
called.
Papadopoulos. No, it was
Oh,
just
okay.
black. It was just
Oh,
black.
okay. It's a, okay.
So anyway, this is getting derailed, Jake.
No,
Rein us back
it's
in.
fine.
Rein us back in.
It's fine. Well, we finally have, for the first time on this damn podcast, an addition to talk about. Oh my gosh, not through trade, by the way. It's a free agent. The first one to a multi-year deal in the Depota era, too. So this is a special occasion. Papa Jerry came through for us on Christmas Eve when it was announced by Jeff Passan, the head elf, right?
Yes.
Tweeted that the Mariners and catcher Mitch Garver reached an agreement on a 2-year, $24 million contract. He's a 32-year-old, 7-year veteran, primarily a DH. Some possibilities as a catcher and first baseman, but yeah, we're probably seeing him in that designated hitter spot. Last year, he played in 87 games with the Texas Rangers, ended the year with a slash line of 270, 370, and 870. Lots of 70s there. It's very interesting. 19 homers for a 138 WRC plus, so really good when he is playing. So yeah, let's talk about Mitch Garver and who, he's finally going to be in a Mariners uniform. We finally have a new person to think of. What do you guys think?
Joe, I'm gonna let you take this one because I've talked a lot about him since I made the video. I want to hear your
did
thoughts.
indeed.
I haven't heard him yet.
So I think one thing that's really exciting about this is it's a multi-year deal. I mean, it's only 2 years, whatever, but it's not this one and done situation. Like, this is a guy that in 2024 we will see, and more than likely, unless for some godforsaken reason he's traded, knock on wood, that he will be on the team again in 2025 as well as part of that offensive nucleus. And obviously the health concerns are a problem, and the idea that he's just going to be the everyday DH or the primary DH, I think is the thing that just has to happen for Mitch Garver, because for his health to keep it intact, to make sure that he can go swing a bat 4 times a game, 5 times a week. That's something that you need to have in your lineup, especially if you're giving out $12 million to him annual average. I think for where the market's at and what his potential could be, I'm pretty okay with the money given. 12 million, I think, is right around where it should have been.
Yep.
Thinking about like other guys like going up higher to maybe like Jorge Soler, a couple more million. I'm honestly okay with where we got Garver at. And I was the person on the Mariner Mojo account that tweeted about the potential first base opportunity, just to like put feelers out there,
Yeah.
and everyone's like DH. Like, I know, but it's just for feelers, okay? Because I don't want to see Dylan Moore out there. I don't want to see Sam Haggerty out there. I would like to entertain the idea, but I know DH is realistically what we want to have happen, so that way he can be in there as often as possible. Does not whiff. Great, just I think plate presence. Like, he's not going to chase a lot. Hits the ball hard, and I think his swing profile, like his batted profile, will play in T-Mobile. I mean, he's got a lot of pop, so it's something that can work out.
Yep.
Yeah. So the way I'm looking at Mitch Garver is, again, the nice part is he's your everyday DH basically, and that's a position that you can fill with a million different guys if you have to. So if/when Mitch Garver gets hurt, because at this point, through everything else in his career, we have 7 years of data to say it's going to happen.
Sure.
And don't get me wrong, if he can play 120-ish games this year, I think that's perfect, and I think he should be in your lineup every single day. But I mean, every sign points to that not happening. But the fact of the matter is, he's not a everyday position player, so it's not like you're going to miss that part. Like, it's not like if Ty France was to get hurt, you're just screwed for 15 days or however long he's out. Whereas Garver gets hurt, okay, then maybe you throw Canzone and like Caballero as like rotating DHs depending on matchups or what have you. A little bit easier to replace there. I think the Garver signing is very good. I think that I'm still the low man on him just because he doesn't play in a lot of games. And if this rumored $25 million budget is a thing, we haven't seen how much it's going to be this year. We don't know. So it's possible this year that he gets paid like $9 million, something like that, and you have a little bit more to spend. But if it is that $25 million, you just spent half of it on a guy who might not even play half the games. And again, that's a big if, that's a big might. But that is the way that I'm looking at this signing. But I am optimistic that it's going to work out for the better. It's the start. Like, this can't be the only like big signing or big move they make. Yeah. That's it. If they do, this offense is still terrible.
the bottom half of the lineup is like, it's pretty rough.
Bad. Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, some things when I was looking at his Savant page to kind of put into perspective for the listeners out there. So first, very above average barrel percentage. It's got a great chase percentage, great walk percentage as well. It's got a respectable K percentage at 23.8, which is pretty decent. It's right around average, I believe. And like you said, he has the pop that the Mariner layer, the Marine layer is not going to contain at all. I just don't see it mattering. One thing I did like, and you kind of said this about the batted ball profile, there's not really a single like type of pitch that he doesn't do well against. His batting average against fastballs is 297, which is insane. Breaking balls 243, off speed 244. So it's like even then, those are still very respectable batting averages, and not a single negative run value, at least per Baseball Savant, at any type of pitch. And that's even breaking down, cutters, sliders, like anything. He's at least at 0. There's nothing that's negative at all. So there's nothing that like truly just beats him. So I think your upside here is that when he is playing, and you can see it through his whole career, when he's playing, he is an above average hitter. It pretty consistently. It's just a matter of how much he's going to play. That's really the main question on him. Because if he was a guy who doesn't have the injury concerns that he does, like for example, he's only played in over 100 games once and only an under 80 games all but 3 seasons out of the 7. Not good, but like I said, when he does play, he is going to help this lineup a lot. So I like it at this. I think he needs to be a DH just to really limit that potential for injury. Because as much as you can keep him on the field, the better is really what it is with Garver. So yeah, we can hope. He's not going to be the new Ty France to get hit by pitches like 30 times a year.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, looking at him, I feel like I don't want him in the field, like actually catching, more than like once every like week at the very most. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And obviously barring an injury to Zavala or to Raleigh, he probably shouldn't see it at all. I mean, who knows how Zavala is going to play out, right? Like, we don't know what we're going to get out of Sebi Zavala. But I think that limiting him at catcher should, like you said, limit the possibilities of getting injured. If Mitch Garver was a guy that played 120 to 130 games a year, this would have been a much different deal. This would have been a 25 plus $million deal for 5+ years.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, you think about it, he's probably hitting 30 plus home runs at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty light. It is. I guess my hang up with that is, of course, like, we have the imaginer. We have to imagine it happening, which is the hard part there, because he has not shown that. But if there was track record for it, and I think that's a similar conversation for like Jorge Soler. Yeah, he's defensive liability, but like Garver in that same way, he is your DH. Soler would have been your DH, but they both have injury history. They both have their ups and downs. So yeah, I think, I mean, you're probably right, just like in terms of value and like what the money would look like if he was a healthy player his entire career. Like, you're probably right on the nail.
Yeah, I mean, I would even argue that if he was consistently doing 130 games, I mean, you probably are talking about him as a better bat than Soler, period. Like, in general. I mean, he's just way more well-rounded in that sense. So I guess that begs the question. I mean, Soler's probably out of the conversation at this point, right?
I'd hope so. Like, not to be the bearer of bad news, but if we brought in Soler to play the outfield, I think that's a problem. Because if we were worried about Teo being a defensive liability, and even though out above average says he was a relatively average fielder last year, Lord knows, and everybody knows, the eye test would tell you differently, aside from his arm. He's got a great arm, but everything else, instincts, whatever, his hustle, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I would say that Soler is even a step down from him. And so if we were to sign Soler, I would be very confused, I would say, and just concerned about all the extra length Julio's going to have to go out to whatever corner Soler would be playing in, because he's going to have to cover so much more ground to just help out.
Yeah.
I think that in terms of just budgetary constraints, it doesn't make sense anymore.
I mean, that too.
If with this $25 million budget that they're rumored to have, you add Soler on, who's probably going to get a $15-ish million deal, I think. I mean, he could even go a little higher than that. I hope he doesn't. But a $15-ish million deal puts him above that $25 million cap that they impose on themselves. And that's it. And then you're done. You're done for the offseason. And you have so many more problems than just that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and so I guess the next question to kind of go into is, what is the next move that we make? So at this point, we still have two primary holes in both of the corner outfield spots. We have a debatable hole at third base, whether it depends on how you feel about Luis Urias, which I would say I'm personally a little bit more high on than other people seem to be. But it's debatable still. But he's obviously, like you said, he's not going to be the last transaction. I mean, he at least can't be. I think people would have a really rough time with that. And estimates say we should still have about 15 to 20 million ish to spend. So what do you guys think should be the next move going forward?
Trade with the Reds. Final answer. Have a good day.
No.
Yes. What do you mean no?
I am worried about the asking price for those young controllable batters in the same way that everybody should be worried about the price of the young controllable pitcher. And I just don't know if it lines up as easy as a 1-to-1 as we need it to be, because like at the end of the day, the Reds probably would be more comfortable running it back with their offenses, specifically in the Great American Small Park, and just out hit teams than out pitch them.
Yep.
And so I know that you're very high on Spencer Steer. I understand. I just don't know if that's necessary, because in that way, then you have to go out and sign a pitcher. And with how the pitching markets looked, like Michael Wacha got 18 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking underneath Michael Wacha at like 12 million, whoever's out there, I just don't know if it's going to be like the upgrade Steer would give you in the field. Is it worth the step back you take in the rotation? And, there's also, you've got Robbie Ray back around the All-Star break. Are you willing to just hopefully every fifth day go out there and win a slugfest if you need to?
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's fully worth it. I understand, like, I get it though, because Spencer Steer's not someone that just factors in for this year. That is down the line until 2029. You got a guy in there that can swing the bat.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hell-bent on some lefty splits, dude. Like whether it's Robbie Grossman or Tommy Pham, just a guy that can go out and mash lefties to be your pair with Dom Canzone. That would be the next move that I could imagine. Oh, you're hip hip hooray! What do you want them to do?
Well, then you got Cade Marlowe in the other corner.
Jake didn't ask us about the next two. He asked us about the next one. All right.
True.
Maybe you should work on your listening comprehension. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, I think for me, the one I'm kind of proposing, and I've kind of tried to think about, and I'm not good with the trade stuff, so I mean, I tried my best, but I do like the whole idea of, one, if you can get a good like guarantee that Rhys Hoskins is gonna sign, I like that idea personally. Even if it's only to a 1-year contract, the reason why I think even that's okay is I was looking 2025 free agent first basemen, Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks, Mark Hanna, Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
Like, those are good dudes that you could try to go for. Pete's probably going to be a bit out of your price range, but someone like a Christian Walker, I could see being a good target. And then if you get Rhys Hoskins, then, what do you do with Ty France? I think you try to make that Ty France for Max Kepler trade. I like Max. He's a lefty with pop. Last year he slashed 260, 332, 816 for a 124 WRC plus. Had 24 home runs, and then baseball savant park factor, if he played in T-Mobile, it would have been 29. So, that's like, I like that for a corner outfielder. He has some control in there. Like, I like that idea. I would hate to see Ty go because he's clearly, somewhat of a fan favorite. And, I say that with rolling my eyes because I think this
Yeah.
last year didn't help that. But before
Mhm.
he definitely was. But I think everyone, likes Ty as the person. And I certainly think he seems like a cool dude. But, I like that idea personally. But that's just my thing. That's what I think should be next because we need that good corner outfielder. So.
Hey, Jake, it's your boy. So back in the day when I used to write for Soto Mojo,
Oh,
which
really?
is
Okay.
and I wrote there with Ty and Colby back in the day. So all three
Gotcha.
of us wrote there. I wrote an article. Okay, all right, listen, all right. I wrote an article way back when about trading Marco Gonzalez for Ty France before Ty France had come up to the majors in the Padres system. And let me tell you, the Mariners, first of all, A, fleeced that trade. But B, Ty France was an immediate favorite of mine, so if they trade him, I'm going to cry.
He also is the nicest freaking guy in the world. Let me tell you my Ty
yeah.
France story, all right?
Okay,
All right, thank you so much for asking about my Ty France story. Yeah.
Well, do you have a great Ty France story to tell?
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh, Joe, I do. Would you like to hear it?
Are you friends
No.
with Ty France?
Too bad. Yeah. We know each other on a personal level. No,
Yeah.
so I had never caught a foul ball at a baseball game before. All right. And then 2022, my dad and I got good seats for my birthday. And there was a foul ball and it hit off the kid in front of me's hand, landed in my lap. Right. There's more story to that part because basically I kind of felt bad because I kind of felt like I took the ball from the kid. I probably should have given it to him because I'm old and he's young. All right.
Yeah.
But I
Probably.
had never got a foul ball before. And I'm like, this is my baseball. Okay. This was a big moment for me. So, but hold on. Let's backtrack here and tell me if this makes me a bad person. Okay. So what I did, because I felt bad, is I went up to the team store, bought a baseball, and marked it up
no.
the best I could and gave
Oh
him that
my
ball.
god.
Why are you exposing yourself right now? Like, do we need to put on like the full like anonymous filter with like the voice changer? Like,
Yeah.
you're really giving us like an expose right now.
I felt so bad because I'm like, oh my God, like I feel like I just took this ball from this kid. I mean, he was, to be fair, he was probably 14, 15. Like he wasn't like 6. All right. So he wasn't like young, but
Yeah.
still. And I'm like, but I really want to keep this foul ball. It's such a, I'm a very sentimental person. And as you could tell by me telling the story. So fast forward to spring training 2023. And I bring that baseball with me. And I'm like, I want to get this ball signed by Ty France. Okay. And at the backfields, there he was standing outside a cage signing baseballs. I'm like, yep. And so I moseyed on over there, and he stood there for like an hour and just signed balls for people.
Yeah.
He was there he's the nicest freaking guy in the world. I also accidentally got a different ball signed, but that's neither here nor
That's not
there.
the point of the story.
No.
Yeah,
He was out there in the trenches signing baseballs.
Dude, he was out
Yeah.
there for so long signing baseballs. Like, it was so cool of him. Like,
Yeah.
you see other guys, I'm not going to name names, but just walk right past people, not even listening. Like, Joe, you remember when we went to spring training?
I know.
That
I've
certain
had
person,
many
yeah.
people walk past, just
Mhm.
head down. Maybe it's not their day. That's okay, right?
Mhm.
That's all right.
Back on
I
track here.
I agree with you. I think I would be sad to see Ty go, but also in the same way, the money moving around does make a decent amount of sense. Like Ty's owed what was it 7 or is it 9 million?
6, I think.
Something around there, right? And
Yeah.
then Kepler's getting 10. I think the money makes sense moving that around to where if we go out and make that trade where say it's like Ty France and if they want pitching because maybe the Twins need pitching Emerson Hancock for Max Kepler and then like some other prospect, whatever, what have you, okay?
Yep.
I know you're saying no, but I'm saying as terms of money and terms of what teams might need and then you go out and sign Rhys Hoskins, I think the money moving around there allows the money to be available to Rhys Hoskins to go sign in Jake's scenario.
Yeah.
Right. I'm rationalizing it as we go. You know what I mean?
So two things. I think Max Kepler makes a lot of sense now. I used to be on the no to Max Kepler train, but like the more that I'm kind of thinking about it, it just where the Mariners are at currently, it makes a lot of sense. Number two, I don't think it would take much more than Emerson Hancock to get Max Kepler.
Like 1-to-1?
Like 1-to, like maybe like another prospect, like a low end prospect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kepler's on a 1-year deal. Like they can't be expecting to get that much out of him.
Yeah.
And if they want to save that money, because I feel like that's what the Twins want. They want to save some money, right?
Yeah, they're trying to
with
shave
those
payroll.
deals. So why would they then want to take on the money of Ty France? Obviously, they save themselves like $4 million, but
Mhm.
why would they not want Hancock and like I don't know. I don't have an Axel Sanchez or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
And then they're paying $750,000 and save themselves 10 million instead of 4.
yes, that's fair.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
There's just so many moving parts to think of when you're thinking like trades. It just hurts my
No,
brain.
because no, that's the thing is I've spent hours just on like a Google Doc just trying to make moves happen
Mhm.
and just trying to make them one fit how like roster construction would need to go, trying to make them balanced, and it never feels right. And then whenever the move does happen, should say tomorrow. I hope not tomorrow because then this is outdated. A week
Yeah.
from now, if
Yeah.
we acquire Max Kepler for a package that's either way above than what we wanted to pay or way below, we'll be none the wiser until that moment.
Yeah.
So
Fair. Did you have sorry, Colton, did you have a move that you wanted to suggest? Because I don't think we ever got to that part.
I just said the
I
Reds
just
move, but
I cut him off. So
yeah,
okay.
classic Joe, honestly. I think that I'm still stuck on the Reds one. I think the very next move to happen, I think, if anything, would be Max Kepler. Like, I think that's just one that makes the most sense right now
Yeah.
in terms of a trade. In terms of a free agent signing, I don't know. I mean, I truly don't know who is in the Mariners' price range at this point. Like Rhys Hoskins, sure, but that I feel like is going to be too much money. Because I feel like I think trade rumors had him around $18 million, and I don't think the Mariners are going to be fishing in that pond.
Yeah.
And so,
But my thing though is that he's coming off of his ACL surgery. Like, if he just doesn't have that many suitors,
mhm,
I mean, this is the reason I kind of pitched as a 1 year deal, is just like kind of a
Mhm.
prove it deal more than anything. So I don't see why he would sign here for multiple years, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I think it was like Sport Track had him at like 21 on market value, but I'm like,
no, yeah,
so
Reese
if it's
Hoskins has
21, no.
insane value. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he has a bit of like that name value, right? I mean, he was, huge with the Phillies, especially in the 2022 playoffs. So like, I guess it
yeah.
makes a little sense, but yeah, hopefully not.
my worry with that deal on a 1 year deal for as like a prove it deal for him is that I don't know if he'd want to come here on a prove it deal when T-Mobile is not a very hitter friendly ballpark for right-handed hitters. I mean,
Yeah,
to be fair, like you said earlier about Garver, if anyone can get it past the friggin' Marine layer, it's Rhys Hoskins. I
yeah,
mean, he's more than strong enough. But it'd be interesting to see his market. I think is the most interesting one. I personally think he ends up with like the Cubs. Like
maybe.
that's a team that makes sense to me. I wouldn't be shocked to see him. I mean, screw it. He's just gonna go to Colorado
Yeah,
and
just go hit
get
40
Yeah,
50.
nukes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Take
and
advantage of that altitude there. Why not?
yeah.
Do what you did. Do what Chris Bryant did, but just couldn't actually
Actually
do.
do it. Yeah.
Stay
Yeah,
healthy, maybe.
yeah. Well, we're officially 58 days until spring training games begin. So, looking forward to 2024 as currently constructed. Where do we predict the Mariners at the end of the 2024 season? Do we think they can compete for the division, or are we just looking at wild card? Is what we're looking at
Currently, with their
currently
current
constructed,
team,
because we don't have a crystal ball to say who else they're going to get.
I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer, but in my opinion, this is a below 500 team right now.
No
Dang, no
shot.
chance.
No shot. I was in the camp that before Garver, they could be at like 84. 84 to 85 would been my like reasonable bound, and then like I usually go like plus or minus 3. So they could go a little bit above, maybe they exceed some expectations, guys take step forward, or some guys just regress again, whatever. I with Mitch Garver, assuming his production is sustainable and he's healthy enough, with the current roster that's constructed, I could see this team going 86, like 86 and 76, which with how it's looked in the wild card since, the updated playoffs, it's not quite there except for like the Rays in 2022, but they're close. I think the
So,
pitching can take them a long way.
so looking at this team compared to last year, they won 88 last year, and now you're starting Luis Urias instead of Eugenio Suarez. You're starting Josh Rojas at second base, which I mean is probably better than Colton Wong was last year.
Yes.
You're starting
Hopefully.
Dominic Canzone and Kate Marlowe. Like those are, I could easily see those being like at the end of the year. Like let's say it's stuck with this team at the end of the year when Codify puts out his worst WAR by position. The
Yeah.
Mariners, second base, third base, right field, left field.
Just like at the very bottom.
Yep, all of them for the Mariners.
Yeah, I mean, it's potentially, yeah. I mean, I will say, and I don't know if I'm like way too optimistic. Maybe I haven't been a fan long enough, I feel like, to have that like disappointment really go in to where I could start being like pessimistic about everything. So I feel like I look at things a little like way too like it's going to go in our favor. But like for me, when I'm thinking not only about the team and like how many wins it could get, like I'm thinking about the division. I'm thinking about our opponents in the division. I'm thinking of Texas, right? One, I think it's Texas's division to lose regardless. But to be fair, the thing with Texas, especially this year, their pitching staff has a lot of health issues. That bullpen is, as they've gotten a couple of good guys in there, but especially that rotation, like DeGrom, Scherzer. I'm sorry, but DeGrom's got a noodle arm. I mean, how can you really expect him to go more than 5 starts? I don't even know. So it's hard for me to like feel comfortable with that. And I think we saw a lot of like breakouts on that roster that haven't happened before, and they just had an insane year. Like Adolis Garcia, didn't know that name until this year, right? Like no one talks about that. And so it's hard for me to say like, oh, they're just going to be these juggernauts like they kind of were this year until they started to fall off. And then with Houston, like Altuve, Bregman, they're starting to get older, right? And we now know that they're having monetary issues too. So they're not really adding anyone, especially any big names. So I personally feel fairly confident in second place personally. And in that turn, I mean, I think we will be around there with the wild card as currently constructed. It might be, maybe not yet, but I guess that's my optimistic side, talking as far as I think Texas is going to have a little bit of regression. I think we can jump Houston for sure at this point. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was pretty optimistic about this team until the Jared Kelenic trade, because I thought that was the dumbest trade I've ever seen in my life. Personally.
I agree.
Like I understand the dumping of salary, but the way they did it was stupid. And who knows, right? Who knows about behind closed doors what happened with Kelenic if he, was like, "Hey, trade me, get me out of this city." Like who knows? Who knows, right? We'll never know. We'll never find that out. To your point about the Rangers, that's actually something that Joe and I talked about at the start of last year, I guess 2023, was that team at the start of the year was running the highest like OPS since the 1927 Yankees. Like it wasn't sustainable, and it wasn't. I mean, you saw how badly they fell off for like a month and a half, 2-month period, where they were getting swept by the Royals and all these other things. And so I think that there's a regression to the mean for that team. So like, I don't think Evan Carter is going to come out here and be like a 300 hitter. You know what I mean? I like Evan Carter. Don't get me wrong. I'm wrong. All right. But like Jonah Heim, is he going to run like a 1,000 OPS plus, or OPS, not OPS plus?
1,000 OPS.
Whoa.
The best
1,000
player
OPS?
ever.
Yeah.
Literally like just combined all the best players into one. I think, a lot of it also last year for the Rangers was like really good timely hitting. Like Jonah Heim had this insane batting average with runners in scoring position. Like he was like lights.
Yeah. Can you take a drink, please?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't get the memo. He was just lights out with runners in scoring position, and I agree that regression to the mean could hit them hard, and I don't think they're necessarily like out of the division. I could see second place for us, and if we're leapfrogging the Astros, I think that's going to be incumbent on a lot of like injury problems, maybe with like Jordan Alvarez not being able to stay healthy, and if Altuve does start to slow down, maybe their pitching staff isn't as good as they might think it is. That's, I think, obviously, without a doubt, the biggest asset that the Mariners have is their pitching should continue to get better, in my opinion, because Kirby's going to continue to grow, Gilbert's going to continue to grow. If Luis Castillo has plateauing at a top 5 Cy Young, great, because you've got other guys that could go past him this year. And then Bryce Miller, Brian Wu, I have no reason to think that they won't take steps forward as well. That's going to, I think, carry over into a lot of games, and it's going to help propel the Mariners to a lot of, it might have to be close 1-run wins. And, when I made the video about how good the pitching staff's going to be, trying to be optimistic, everyone's like, get ready to lose a lot of 2-1 games. Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe we're pushing over 2 runs, and then the other team's going to only get 1. That's my I think copium is that the pitching will take us a lot further than people might want to admit. And maybe it's not a fun brand of baseball. We're not going to be banging home runs every single night, left and right. We're not setting records in that way. But if we're playing clean games with good defense and good pitching, there's no doubt in my mind that this team is above 500 as it's constructed right now.
Well, and you look at the 2021 team, which I mean, you guys saw led all of baseball in 1-run wins. Like
Yeah.
that is just what you didn't. That was the difference between the 2021 team and the 2020, or I'm sorry, the 2022 team and the
That's what I was saying.
2023.
I thought that
Yeah,
was
that's my
that.
bad.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they led it in 2021 also, but
Yeah.
not the point. And that was the difference between that and the 2023 team, where they were losing these 1-run games.
Yeah.
And like that Mariner magic wasn't there. Could that be there next year? Because realistically, this pitching staff should be able to keep it close. Yeah, I think it very easily could be. It's just I hate that the Mariners are relying on so many what ifs. And don't get me wrong, I think this team has the potential to be great. I just think that they're missing a few key contributors. And can you run out Dylan Moore and Dom Canzone in left field as a platoon? Sure. I don't love it, but sure. But you got to get. I feel like you need to rectify at least one position in the infield and one position in the outfield, and I'm fine. I'm fine with this team. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go out there and sign Cody Bellinger, okay? Like, I mean, that'd be sick. Don't get me wrong, that'd be sick. But like, trade for literally Randy and Isak Paredes. I'm done. That's good enough for me for the season.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And do you think if we ever signed Cody Bellinger that he would just like love the fact there's Sean Kemp's cannabis like right down the road from T-Mobile?
Just
oh my gosh.
be there after every game. Just
that would be the selling point. Takes off a good like couple $1 million a year in that offer. So yeah, well, I think that's pretty much like where I'm done with the questions as far as the team goes, and then we're gonna get a lot more into just kind of like we're chatting about
the vibes.
Well, I asked this to so far both of the guests I've had so far, and I'm going to ask it to you guys too. How did you become Mariner fans? How did you become baseball fans? What's the origin story? The Joker origin story. What is it? I mean, it doesn't have to be a Joker, bad, but
all right.
Yeah.
So
going first.
Okay. The first ever baseball game I went to. Okay, I vaguely remember it. I was pretty young. It was. I never got to go to the Kingdom, which is unfortunate. But first ever baseball game I went to, I slept through most of it. And then I kept complaining about how bored I was and wanted to go home. And now me and my best friend run a YouTube channel about that very same team.
Yeah.
And it's so like I think for me, where it really clicked, where I became very highly devoted to baseball.
The pitch clock.
The pitch clock, yeah. Until then, I hated baseball. I was like, oh,
just so slow. So
6
tiresome.
mound visits? No. 5? All right.
Yeah.
4? I'm in. No. So I feel like I always I love the Mariners and whatnot, but 2010 I feel like is where it really turned into something more of an obsession for me than it was just like hey, I like watching games. I like going to games, blah blah. And I pinpoint this one specific moment. And Joe, you were there.
Fantastic.
And you talked me into playing fantasy baseball.
I did.
And I had the first pick. And I picked Evan Longoria at my first pick. And I was hooked after that. I loved playing fantasy baseball. And so then I was watching every game and I started falling more and more in love with the sport. And yeah, and I won the league that year. And so and so I think that's kind of my big moment for falling in love with baseball. The Mariners specifically, I mean, they're just the hometown team. So like that was always my team. Like there was never a wavering of this is my team, you know what I mean? And then I don't know. I mean, my parents didn't really go to a whole lot of games until I got a little bit older, and they were like, okay, like this is what you're doing. I basically talked them in now to just going to it. They used to go like maybe 1 or 2 a year. Now they probably go to 10 plus, and I probably go to 20 something plus. So
nice.
That's where all my money goes.
Yeah.
It's bad. Joe?
I think I'm a pretty big superstitious guy. I believe in a lot of the energies in the world sometimes. And my parents will say this till the end of time that when my mom was pregnant with me, they went and saw Space Jam in theaters. Or they were watching Space Jam or something of that nature. And growing up, my love for sports was strictly basketball and baseball, and they will attribute to the fact that Space Jam was the movie that they went and saw in theaters. I grew up watching The Sandlot on the VHS repeatedly. Just play it, rewind it, play it, rewind it. The scene where they're running around the bases, doing the little hit-a-thon. I would run around my kitchen and slide and everything. So I think from a very early age, it was just, I was destined to love baseball. I was destined to love sports in general. And yeah, I think that's just from very early on, I was just exposed to it. Like I was living, breathing sports. It's like, there's an era of which growing up, I decided I'm too old for these cartoons. I need to start watching ESPN and Sports Center. I was like 10, just glued to ESPN, like Stan Verrett, Neil Everett, just every single day. I was watching Stump the Schwab, which is an old, like 2005 sports trivia game show. Like I was just dedicated to sports. And that is just where I think it never I came out the womb loving baseball, and it's never left.
Before I tell my next story, Jake, how old am I?
Okay. Um,
There's some context clues that we've given out. Like
There are some context
have
clues.
you? So okay, so you went to your first baseball game when you were young, but you just barely missed out on the Kingdom.
there you go.
So that's the context clue I have. I am going to guess. So I'm trying to think of my age,
Mhm.
too. I'm gonna go with God. When did Safeco? When did that? It was like what 99 when that opened. I'm gonna guess like 31.
31. Ooh. How old do you think Joe is?
That's even harder. I feel like I mean it's got to be you guys went to school together, so it has to be like literally the same age as whatever you are now, basically
So,
within a year.
Yeah.
the next part of my story, Joe, about superstition. I was
Mhm.
born July 24th, 1996. I'm 27.
Whoa,
And
The
the
gray hair
fuck?
does not help you at all.
You
yeah,
are
and
two-
Joe
You're only 2
Yep.
years older than me.
and
Damn.
Joe's only a year older than you. Joe and I are a year and 3 days apart. Joe is 26. He was
Yeah.
born July 27th,
Jesus Christ.
1997.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were
Yeah.
legit like both like right around 30, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Mhm.
okay.
I mean, I feel like it. But so on the
Mariners
day
fan.
that I was born,
Put some
okay, that's
aging
true.
cream on.
That's what? Yes, please. Yeah, I'm really getting tired of your wrinkles. It's really
I
hurting.
know. I gotta
hurting the
start
show.
working on them.
People are starting to talk. The day that I was born, I just looked this up. The Seattle Mariners beat the Milwaukee Brewers 8-7 at home. The Seattle Mariners beat the former Seattle Pilots 8-7.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Joe, let's just see. Let's just look for you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I really appreciate
So
that.
what?
Yeah,
the
no.
Mariners
Oh.
score on my birthday. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah. Like, and who they played. Yeah.
Let me guess. They had an off day on my birthday.
No. Joe, for you, they beat the New York Yankees 3-2.
Those damn Yankees.
So they improved to 54 and 44 on my birthday, Joe.
Mhm.
On your birthday, they improved to 60 and 44. So they played 6 more games.
W.
Yep.
Catching dubs.
The Mariners lost to the Indians at the time 10-4.
That's tough.
They
Bro.
got
I'm
totally
sorry.
yeah. Wow.
Mariners fandom.
Yeah. Now I'm like
Parody.
curious. Now I'm gonna look at the baseball ref and see who was pitching. So Alex
Oh.
Rodriguez was playing. Wow. What the heck?
God.
Let's see.
Yeah. Who?
Bill Swift versus Charles Nagy.
Those are names for
So
sure.
Bill Swift
yeah.
was the losing. Heathcliff Slocum pitched. I remember. I
Oh,
know that.
yeah.
Wow.
Nice. It was
Put that in the immaculate grid.
where was it? It was at I think it was in Cleveland. Yeah, Jacobs Field. That's
Yeah.
old.
Oh, my
Before
goodness.
progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a 74-degree day with wind 2 miles an hour from left to right. Nice.
This is like our
Cloudy.
zodiac sign. Like, what's your
Yeah.
rising? It was 74 degrees and the wind was blowing south at 2 miles an hour on the day that I was born. Okay.
Yeah.
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 So
That's
Oh.
well I like asking because I feel like it's been interesting listening to a couple of the other stories too, but it seems like a lot of them kind of come from the same, I guess, sort
From
of
the
like,
same cloth.
well, especially you, Joe. Like Ty also was saying that like they were watching the Mariners game when he was coming out the womb, so
Yeah,
it's
no.
like you were born into it,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah. Well, Ties is so interesting because to New Mexico, to Toronto, like
Mhm.
dude has been around, but he just stuck with being a Mariners fan. You know what I mean? Which I
Yeah.
think is so cool with Ties. I mean, my favorite player growing up. I mean, I feel like it was either Ichiro or Felix. Those were the two. Like,
Yep.
which I feel like is pretty common for people our age. Like,
Yeah.
Joe and I went to Felix's perfect game, so like that kind of cemented me
Dang.
into like King Felix territory. Yeah.
Ah,
So
that's annoying that you guys went and saw what would be my bucket list like
It was
baseball
on
event ever.
on a whim. We were like,
it was for my birthday that year.
yeah,
I was
it's like
mad that we
happened to
couldn't-
pick it.
I was mad we couldn't go on July 24th for my birthday
because I wanted all my friends to go. So instead, my mom picked a value game where it was on August 15th, 2012, so that all my friends could go. We sat in the 300 level. I have a autographed ticket right there that you can't see because of the glare. You can see Jake's reflection instead.
Yeah.
There's an autographed ticket of that game stub.
Man.
There's an autographed Mariners, autographed Felix card, and autographed Felix jersey.
Dang.
Very cool.
So you guys have both went to like a lot of Mariner games in your lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was actually a question I had written up when I was planning on doing the solo one with Colton, and I know you had went to a lot of games, so but you both have went to, so this makes sense. Detail your perfect day going to a Mariner game in Seattle. What does it consist of before, during, after the game?
I have thought this out many a time.
I'm
Joe.
sure you have.
Do you need time?
I mean, am I in the car with you in your perfect day? I better be.
You
Yeah.
can,
Well,
you
who else
can
is screaming-
hypothetically, you've invited whoever you would like to go.
All right.
Colton,
I
who
invited
else is screaming Poles Bow RV as we're going
That's
going
true.
on to like? There's no one. It's
So, Jake,
me.
There's a little lore with that, Jake. On our way to Felix's perfect game, we passed by Poles Bow RV on I-5, and we just yelled Poles Bow for some
And
reason, and we've
now
done
we
it
do it
time.
every single time.
Makes
So
sense.
So my perfect day. All right, get to Seattle. So let's say game time 7:10. All right, just because whatever, that's normal time for game. Probably get to Seattle around I don't know, like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and go to the waterfront.
oh,
When it's completed. Right now, it's under a lot of construction. So,
Yeah.
but back in the day, that was my favorite thing. I remember my parents and I, we'd all walk down to the waterfront, maybe get some Ivers on the waterfront. Just kind of look at the views of the city because the city's absolutely gorgeous from down there. Just get to spend some time down there, walk back up to the stadium, get there when gates open. Like that is that is my thing. I'm always there when gates open. If I'm not there when gates open, I feel sick to my stomach.
Makes sense.
Especially with how much it costs to go to games.
Oh,
so I better be able to spend as much time there as possible and enter the gates, to beautiful doves flying, because that's how it feels whenever I enter T-Mobile Park. Doves flying, angels singing. Walk up the center field stairs immediately to Chick Chick Boom. Get their chicken strips with some garlic waffle fries. All right. That right next to it's a Blue Moon stand. Get myself a nice cool Blue Moon on like a nice 74-degree day. Sun's not too hot, I'm sitting probably down the first baseline, a little above the Mariners dugout, maybe a little further out, kind of like right field line. I've really thought this out.
you say first baseline?
Yeah.
Mariners dugout?
I agree.
Oh, it is. I was inverted.
That is crazy that you are a fake Mariners fan. What
No, I was inverted for a second.
all right, nice Mariners W. Okay.
Let's just
And
say,
then-
has to
I'm
be.
And
shocked.
then a few years ago, I don't know if Joe, I think you've seen it, but outside of like the left field gate, in between left and center field, there's always like a band now that just plays, or a guy that just plays the drums out there, and like there's loud music playing, and you just vibe, you just get down out there. A few years, 2021, that was happening after the Mariners were like it was game 160 where they were really close to the playoffs, and that was the vibes immaculate. It was like
like out on the street.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not inside.
Like,
not inside.
is that like right next to Occidental?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
right across from Occidental.
Yeah.
And he's playing the drums. Literally everybody was just out there dancing after the Mariners won. It was the coolest thing in the world. That is my perfect Mariners game day.
Nice.
Joe,
God.
am I in yours?
I mean, I think you have to be because
Nice.
I don't often go to games without you unless it's with my dad.
Yeah, and then I don't get invited.
You don't get invited, so like suck it. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit more low key. I'm a bit more chill, I think, with my interaction with the day. I probably wouldn't get there at 1 like you would. I would probably just get there probably around when gates would open, and then like maybe people have already kind of filtered in, like we're parking while gates are being opened if I were to be there on my own. But if I'm with you, I know we're already in line, so that's not in question here. I'm gonna say I like the Terrace Club quite a bit. You exposed me to that for the first time, and I enjoyed the Terrace Club a bunch. I think just like the angle of the view, I just love that side, like that view of the field. So I'm gonna say the Terrace Club. I'm gonna be bougie for a sec.
Okay.
I mean, I guess
On
if I
the first
had a choice,
basin.
yeah, Terrace. Like,
Yeah.
I love the padded seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're comfy.
I got a tiny butt. It hurts to sit in those seats after a while. I'm
Yeah.
sitting.
I think there's a little bit more space, and
Mhm.
we're kind of large, so it's just a little bit more space up there.
Kinda a little fatty.
I know.
Whatever, dude.
I need to do that too. I like the last, especially the couple times I went last year. I was like, these seats are like smaller than I remember.
Yeah.
I was
Yep.
so uncomfortable. I hated it so much.
It's like jabbing into your sides, and
Yeah.
you're
Like
like,
literally
yeah.
just like
We
horrible.
all know as big boys,
Yeah.
this is the
packed
the
sardine.
heavyweight podcast here. It's like sitting in those seats is tough.
Yeah. It's not fun.
Anyway, sorry that I interrupted you, Joe. Please continue.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I don't think I've witnessed a walk-off win, but I would love to witness a walk-off win, like a walk-off home run,
Yeah.
right?
Fair enough.
You
Well,
haven't?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. And because most of the Mariners games I go to now, a lot of them are in Oakland. RIP. RIP those cheap tickets that I go to, those games. So I can't get walk-off wins there for the
Right.
Mariners.
You saw a walk-off Oakland win
I did when
with
Diego
Diego
Castillo
Castillo.
and Ty France bobbled an easy grounder back to the mound, but that's neither here nor there. I threw my hat down in disgust. But yeah, I'd say not like a crazy offensive battle, like a nice 3-3 game going to the bottom of the ninth, just chills, like the stadium announcer, just the vibes, like everything, just like
Yeah.
get you pumped up, and you could like the crack. Like I'm imagining, like the perfect home run would have been Julio's 30-30 home run from last year against the Angels. Like the crack of the bat, like straight to center field, like that as a walk-off home run would be chef's kiss. It'd be phenomenal, just picturesque. So 3-3 going to the bottom of the ninth. Julio's leading off. Why not? Cracks just a solo shot to center. It could be first pitch. Don't even care. Just give me a walk-off homer, and I'd be on cloud nine. I didn't say any
Yeah.
food. I'd get chicken tenders too.
Nice.
That's the easy
the
go-to.
go-to.
Like it's consistent. Don't have to worry about anything going wrong.
And that's what I had at the perfect game.
True.
Oh yeah.
And
So
I'm
it's a superstition all over again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you answered that question before, Jake, on the pod?
For the perfect day.
Yeah.
No, because Ty lives in Toronto, so like kind of hard to ask
Yeah.
him that.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jage lives in Pittsburgh, so it's like
Mhm.
you guys are the
Does
first.
he? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, East
so
Coast boy.
yeah, the whole point in his bio is like I root for the Mariners way more than East Coaster should. So I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
can't really ask him. So you guys are the first, like, well, you were local, Joe, but not anymore.
I've been outsourced.
But yeah, but you guys have been to plenty of games, so I'm like, this is the perfect time to ask about that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think for me, like, I have to make a trip of it because I live multiple hours away. I live like 2.5 hours on a good day, so it's like I have to make a trip of it. So I haven't I've been to a night game before, but it was like a long time ago. I don't really remember how I liked it. So I go to day games. Usually that's the only time I can go now because it's an up and down in one day. So I guess it would be a day game. So I did this before the Seahawks Raiders game last year, but Burb's Burgers is really good and really cheap. It's a small place just north of Lumen Field. It's like $5 for the burger, like a
Is it
dollar or
in-
two for the fries. It's like connected to a
Pioneer
pizza
Square?
place too.
Oh.
No, like it is one building that has two different places in it. It has a pizza place and Burb's Burgers, and then like I think a bar too. So it's like a place where a lot of people seem to hang out before games.
Okay.
But it's a cheap, economical option before you go into the ballpark. It's a good smash burger. The fries are
Ooh.
decent. They're just simple shoestring. I mean, nothing too fancy, but it's like I'm not going to go inside and pay $15 for a burger when I could get two for 10 if I really
Yeah.
want to like go crazy. So probably that, and then go into the ballpark. I like in there when the gates open. My wife is so annoyed with me when
Yep.
she goes with me because I insist of getting there as soon as gates open, and we're like just sitting there for an hour and a half. And I'm like, I just like being here. I
Gotta
just
take
like
it in, bro.
exactly. I know there's no better feeling in my opinion than just being at the ballpark, even when there's nothing happening and still pregame. Like it's the best thing ever. Um, I don't really, I wouldn't say I have any specific things at the ballpark to eat. Like, haven't really explored it too much, to be honest. I guess if I want to be like, you know, continuing the meme, Moto Pizza, sure. I mean, I never got it, but why not? And I've said it on Twitter, in stadium Chipotle, do it. It'll be the best off-season addition you ever make. If I could eat a bowl and queso and chips while I'm watching the Mariners win, That'd be perfect for me. I know
I had
Chipotle's
Chipotle
overrated.
today.
I
And
did
I
too.
disagree.
I had
It's
it for dinner.
underrated. Did you?
Yes, for dinner.
Had it for lunch.
Okay,
What's up, Joe?
and by the way, I do put meat on my Chipotle bowl. You know,
As you should.
I said that one time in a tweet, and I accidentally omited the fact I put in carnitas, and you're like,
Oh,
"Oh
that's right.
wow,
That's
no
right.
meat. That's so brave." I'm
Yeah,
like,
it was
No
us and
protein
Aaron.
here.
no,
Yeah.
I promise. You don't get this build without having some protein. I promise. But so I don't know much in there, but like for me, seating wise, especially on a really nice day, there's nothing better than like front row, 300 level, first base side, seeing the skyline, all that.
Oh, nice.
That's so good. I will say though, I did sit in the Julio section, the J Rod squad section, and that was actually a really fun time. I had never sat in the outfield before for a game, so I was a bit worried about intaking the game and like the view and how that was going to be. And then the Mariners decided to hit 7 home runs in one game, so it was actually pretty sweet.
Good day to do it.
Yeah, so it was that 26th of August game against the Kansas City Royals where they just went to town. It was so fun.
Wait, isn't that the day before we were there?
Yeah, that was the day before we sat in the J-Rod squad for the
Yeah.
Mariner Mojo
really?
meetup. We had a bunch
Yeah.
of people out for the Mariner Mojo
Yeah, it
meetup
was,
in the J-Rod squad.
yeah, Logan Gilbert versus Jordan Lyles, and it was
Mhm.
yeah, it was like the first 3 innings were kind of like whatever, and Gilbert was going nuts, and then Rojas started it, and it just felt like it never ended raining baseballs. It was
Mhm.
so sick.
Yeah.
So I will say, if you can go in the J-Rod squad, it's a good economical option, and it is fun, especially the CO2 cannons. Whenever they hit a home run, it's actually
Yeah.
pretty sweet. As
Yeah.
someone who is like a raver, I like EDM music. I love
Mhm.
CO2 cannons, so it was super sick on my end. Kind of brought me back. But yeah, I would still say though, like in general, I do like that first base side, seeing the skyline. That's like perfect for me, especially like front row on that. Nothing beats that, to be honest. So
As a big fella, I try to plan on where the sun's going to be.
yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
where am I going to be in the shade? Because I'm fat and I'm going to sweat. So like
Yeah.
when we sat in the J-Rod squad, it was like 80 something degrees that day.
Yeah, just
It
beating down on us.
sucked.
It was
It
92
sucked.
when I went. It was like 92, and like it was fine for the first inning and a half, and then it just
Yeah.
opened up. We
Mhm.
we didn't even end up sitting in our seats for more than in 2 innings, maybe max.
Hot.
Yeah.
We were just walking around the rest of the time. I was hanging out next to the Dave Niehaus statue, just watching balls
Mhm.
fly around. It was cool, but that weird out of context. But
Clip it.
yeah. But I would say like after the game, like I haven't went there in forever, but I really want to go to that Mopop museum. I love music, so it's like
Mm.
I just want to go. And they just recently, last time I was there, I wanted to go, and then they had a horror movie like exhibit with like actual props from like some of the most famous horror movies. I was like, oh,
Okay.
please, we just never made it. So disappointing, but I want to go there really bad. So, and then I have to
Okay.
start driving home if I want to like be
Yeah.
awake by the time I get home. So,
Yeah.
I guess that's it
Well,
for me.
We'll whenever Joe decides to get his ass up here this season,
Okay.
we'll all find a day to get together and we'll all go to a game. We just
Yeah.
like an impromptu Mariner Mojo you love to see at meetup, you know?
Yeah, I've had this idea that was I want to get those like little TikTok mics that you can put into the phone, and I just want to do an
Mhm.
hour-long podcast while I'm at the game, and just like I feel like
No,
that'd
that'd
be
be
so
sick.
cool. Just maybe a live reaction to a home run. Who knows? Like just see what happens. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that would be really cool. I just don't even know what I'm looking at. I'm definitely looking at August. Anyone who's listening, August late against the Giants, because that's the team I grew up liking, and so me and my dad will definitely be there for a couple of those games. So
Perfect.
there's that. Okay,
Writing
well,
that down.
yeah. So we're at an hour and 2 minutes. So I will end with my patented hypothetical that I've made that I really like asking. Okay, and it's for both of you. It's a 2-part question. If you were an MLB player, one, would you prefer to be a hitter so your walk-up music plays more often, or would you prefer to be a closer so you get to do the run-in with all the production, all that stuff? And B, what's the song?
So,
Hmm.
you want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first. I gotta think this up. I gotta think this over really quick.
So I have a couple ideas. In I want to say my walk-up was your walk-up song, Colton, in we were playing varsity baseball in high school. Was yours a song by the Scorpions?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rocky like a Hurricane. So if I had to pick a song to be a closer to, I think Rocky Like a Hurricane would slap. I think
can
that would be
see it.
so sick. like, or even like Crazy Train, like Black Sabbath. I think that would be sick.
I see it.
I would be in the camp. I understand the idea. You want your walk up song to play more as a batter. I think the one time with production, I would. Oh, dude, I'm in. I would get chills every single time, and I'm the guy like that's representing. I think that'd be so
Yeah.
sick.
Edwin
would
Diaz running into the trumpets,
no,
the greatest thing I've ever seen.
it's fire. Yeah, I would probably either go. Dude, I'm gonna steal your thunder. I'm going "Rocky Like a Hurricane" by the Scorpions. I think
That's fine because I'm changing mine. So
that's okay. Yeah, you're allowed to have some character growth here, and I'm regressing it seems, but I just something about because I grew up listening to the Scorpions a ton. Like my parents, just like on long road trips, that's one of those CDs that we always had playing.
I'm getting.
Oh
Is it gonna be Peaches? Are you just gonna have Peaches?
no,
play?
not Millions of Peaches. No, not Presidents of the United States. Or one of my favorite songs growing up, "Welcome to the Jungle" by Guns N' Roses. I think that could also like because you could
Yeah.
the ambiance with that one.
Yeah.
I'm changing. I'm "Welcome
I
to the
see
Jungle"
it.
by Guns N' Roses. That would be mine because I feel like in that same way I could like I'm pretty hairy. Well, we'll pull the veil back. I'm pretty hairy, so you could like make it even more
Inside.
so about the jungle, right?
Oh.
Like exactly.
It's
Inside
just
info.
Joe shirtless on the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like coming out. Yeah, no, that'd be it. That could be like my nickname. Like that would be my nickname. Like the jungle. That could be sick, bro. Oh, I'm in.
Okay.
I'm world building now. I'm world building.
This is character development right in front of our eyes.
That's
Yeah.
right. All right. I need both of you to close your eyes. All right. All right. Now picture this. The lights go out in T-Mobile Park. Everybody, yeah, and then the lights
God.
start
Oh my
coming
God.
on. Rock your body, and I'm just coming in. The Backstreet's back. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Hot. Like that was so. Looking back on it, when during varsity baseball, I wish I would have done that because it
Yeah.
would just have started with everybody.
Mhm.
You know, that would have been fire. And then like the lights are flashing. You know, everyone's dancing.
That would be good. I just think of this as the end
That's
with that,
yeah,
which is
same.
probably direct inspiration for you.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, that's good.
Nice.
I'm surprised we both picked closer. Like we both picked
I
relief
just
pitcher.
always I
It's
honestly
the right
always
answer
preferred
though.
pitch.
That's the reason why. I mean,
Yeah,
I think Ty maybe said hitter just so it hits more or because it happens more.
His song plays more. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just like for me growing up, there was nothing better than a nice closer entrance. I bring it up every single time. Grant Balfour's entrance when he was with the Oakland A's, so
Mhm.
sick. They had those
it was a
people.
metal song, right?
It was one by
Always.
Metallica, but it was the breakdown part of it. They had those people in the the right field seats, headbanging with the long
Headbang.
hair. So perfect. I love that. So, yeah, it's the right answer. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have an answer for the song yet because I've been thinking about it. But also, it's like I just pawn
Yeah.
this question off to everyone else, and they can do it instead. But I will say closer though, for sure.
Mhm.
I will eventually have an answer for it. I promise.
By episode 10, we need an answer.
Yeah, I
'Cause
will reveal it in episode 10.
The anticipation's killing me at this point.
Did
Yeah.
Ty pick a Kid Cudi song?
Yeah, of course.
Hey,
So predictable.
Well, I
nothing
think
nothing wrong with Cuddy.
yeah, I think the reason why I don't know if I could pick it is because like every song I think of is like some really like some EDM song that I'm like no one's gonna know. Like I'm gonna say this and no one's gonna know it. So I'm just
I'm
like, why
thinking
would I
back
even
to
say
like
it?
when Martin Garrix was really big and
Oh,
T-Mobile.
yeah.
Or it was either was it
Fernando
Safeco?
Rodney.
It was
Yeah,
Fernando
Fernando
Rodney,
Rodney.
Animals.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Animals.
Yeah.
I saw a Rodney entrance for that. Yeah, I remember seeing
Like that could work. You just got to find the right one, and like it doesn't necessarily. I mean, I guess it could have to be mainstream to get people like jazzed up about it. But like if it's good enough, people are gonna vibe.
Yeah, I mean, no one
Yeah.
knew Edwin Diaz's walk-up song and T-Mobile or Safeco Field when he first, came in with the
Yeah.
trumpets.
that.
You're like,
And
I
then
didn't-
now it's sweeping the nation.
Yeah, but it's like I also listen to EDM songs. I'm just like, but I feel like I would want to pick like a metal song too. Like I would want to pick like a Slipknot song, which I don't know if you could ever clear that to play in a
Yeah.
in a ballpark. Yeah.
It's like that breakdown of it.
Yeah, so I don't know if I could do that, but that I would
Yeah.
probably go with maybe more of a metal thing, even if I don't
Okay.
listen to it as much.
If
So
you can find two that mix well, because Edwin Diaz had two. I have them both on my Spotify. And I don't remember what either that's Demagogigo or something like that's the name of one of them. And then I don't remember what the trumpet one is. But yeah,
it's
he
by
had them
Timmy
both.
Trumpet. Yeah,
Yeah, he had them playing. He had the trumpet song with that playing over the top of it.
Actually,
So you maybe
Oh,
find a way to do both. Yeah.
so one I actually thought of the other day. I remember because I was thinking about this question. Triple H's theme song from WWE.
There you
That
go.
would be
Okay.
a
I don't know
sick.
the one.
yeah.
Yeah, that you look it up. It's the best WWE entrance song of all time.
No,
So
if there's a like sports production to I think mimic or kind of take inspiration from WWE. I'm not a big WWE guy, but like it's just one of those situations you know that the production level is going to be at its peak because that's like what the selling point is.
yeah,
Like that's you watch a little bit, you're like, okay, that's what I need to do for my walkout.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
you can nail it.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the You Love to See It podcast. Once again, this pod is available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and for some reason Samsung, but no one gives a shit about the Samsung. So please like, subscribe, follow, review this pod wherever you're watching. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you for being so gracious with your time, guys. I appreciate it so much. Look forward to having you guys on sometime in the future as well, and maybe get into a game this summer. That would be really cool. So
really appreciate you having us on, man. As the third guest, we're honored, man.
Yeah, very, very much so.
It was
And
a really fun time.
the first duo.
Yeah, I know.
With all the hiccups involved.
Yeah, I know. We don't need to talk about the
Yeah.
technical stuff, but that's okay. So I am your host, Jake, signing off. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you later.